Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I want to do a very raw replay analysis of OG Yuragi's gameplay. My man's been owning, on the carry role. It's been great to watch him play, and I kind of want to see how he managed to get a 6k net worth lead on Matama Man this game. Now, to be fair, his team was winning, so obviously he had more space than Matama Man, but nonetheless, he owned this game. His laning stage, from the very small bit I've watched, was incredible, so I just want to go over it, talk about how he puts pressure, what he does, and so on. By the way guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the GameLeap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. So in the laning stage right here to start, we have a new item build. I've seen a bunch of people doing this as of late. It's quite fascinating that they are starting with no regen. It has been a thing in the past. This is not completely new, but it's becoming very popular right now. And I'm surprised it didn't become popular earlier. Like, as is, people are like shipping or starting with no regen. They would start generally with 3 tangos. This is the step further, and it kind of makes sense because now he has 2 slippers, 2 branches, and a stick, and no tangos. But he's laning with an IO who has 3 tangos, and then this IO is gonna ship out another 3 tangos, right? So basically what the IO is doing is IO is just gonna be feeding regen into this Luna, and it's gonna cause the Luna to just skyrocket on net worth because she doesn't have to buy any regen. Like, usually you're losing about 180 gold per lane at minimum on regen, and that's fine because it's a trade-off, right? You're spending the gold on the regen to make sure you can actually play the lane, but nonetheless, let's get into the lane. So first things first, just want to talk about every little thing that he does. This is going to be pretty in-depth, so make sure you grab your popcorn and get ready. But first, what he does is he instantly hits the range creep. This might seem weird, but this is something I've been seeing most people do. It's something I've been incorporating into my own gameplay as of late. And if you kill the range creep, it shoves in the lane. If you shove in the lane, you hit level 2 first. If you hit level 2 first, you can put pressure. Okay, so in this next clip here, we're gonna see him put really clean pressure onto the Snapfire. He does like the majority of Snapfire's HP here. Let's see what he does to make this happen. So you can see he pulls aggro. That was really, oh my god, that was so fast. Such clean creep aggro there. I don't even know if you guys were able to see it, but pulls aggro and then he kind of just goes in. He just walks up. The thing is, this is why I like this build so much, because he gets to start with stick, right? He has 10 charges. There's no way the enemy can man up when you have such a stick advantage. IO doesn't even have stick. Wow, this is so much regen. Oh my god. I think he bought 2 extra sets of tangos, but you can't, it's very hard to man up to this sort of stick advantage, right? It just is. Like, how do you man up to it? It's an extra 150 HP. It's insane in the early game. Let's see what the Mars has. Mars does have a 5 stick, and Snap has a 4 stick, so they do have stick charges themselves, but the 10 is really significant. On top of that, this is a pretty standard play from Luna IO lanes. Basically, once Luna hits level 3, if you see this lane play out, you give 50 attack speed with a bonus 15 damage, that's 30 total, and you just own people. And do they kill him? Almost. Pretty close. Ooh, nice spear. But either way, really good pressure. On top of that, you can see he pulls creep aggro to the range creep a lot and then looks to put pressure on it. You see how he does this? Because he has the stick advantage and because he's laning with an IO, which is a pretty strong laner, he's playing up. This is maybe a mistake, actually, because IO's tether overcharges down and he mans up. But the thing is, like, this is when you're strong. 8 armor, 97 damage. You're basically a treant with armor and high movement speed. And people don't understand that. So you really want to abuse that. That's what he did there. And he's putting pressure anytime he can basically bait them in a little bit with the range creep, right? With the aggro onto the range creep. Even without the aggro onto the range creep, he's kind of just going in, frankly. He's so far ahead, and it makes sense, though. Like, a lot of players, they don't recognize when their lane is just wildly stronger than the opponent, and they don't play accordingly, because he is just full aggression here. It does back up, you don't want to miss too many CS, you don't want to completely overcommit and miss the entire wave. Okay, buys boots, probably going to save for 1 before he ships it, I would imagine. Maybe? What is he buying? Yep, there we go. Okay, I was going to say, that's a real grief to the inventory if you don't complete it. Okay, denies range creep, gets melee. Nice, this is beautiful. So this is one of those plays where most players would never do this. So he's gonna get gun on here. He hits level 4 and he's plenty strong. Once again, he's strong, okay? Like, I'm just repeating myself, but he's strong. He's gonna get gun on here. What most players would do right here is they would panic, okay? Look at his HP, 253 HP. They would panic because Mars is 3/4. This guy's 3/4. You're 1/3. There's like no way this is favorable, right? No, it is favorable. The reason why it's favorable is because number one, Io is going to tether with a salve. So Io's healing him. But most importantly, the most important thing that most players do not consider, never consider, is the fact that they use every single spell. It seems apparent when I say it, but they used Mars Spear, they used Mars Rebuke, they used Cookie, and they used Blast, so there's just auto attacks, which aren't going to do much damage to Luna. She's got a 6-stick, she's got Overcharge, and she's got an IO Salve, and so she just mans up and does a bunch of damage. Now Mars is 1/3 HP, and because of the advantage of the IO lane, which is why this hero is so popular at a high level, any trade that's even, or even slightly unfavorable a lot of the time, is actually positive. One more thing he does here as the Luna is he actually holds the point. The reason why he's doing this is not because he might take Beam. If he was going to take Beam, he'd already taken it because he has used it at this point. It's just to make sure he's not shoving in the lane and just griefing himself. If you take your Glaives early on, it just griefs the lane. Like you can see here, he wants to static it just to make the Mars miss a ton of CS. And if he had Glaives, this would not happen because he would have shoved in the lane accidentally. So I like this adjustment. The next thing that was kind of weird to me, by the way, he took 3 points in Blessing, which is the build now. I think it's because Glaive got nerfed, so basically people really like doubled down on maxing E and playing pretty aggressive. Especially if you win your lane, it makes quite a bit of sense because maxing E is nice because it lets you continue to win your lane, right? When you win your lane, so lets you keep going aggressive. And then if it does go bad for whatever reason, you start getting chain ganked or whatever, even though this game he's probably not going to get chain ganked. The enemy has Alina. You know, maybe they could arena into like Alina, but meh, Mars doesn't have an arena yet. So it's a nice balance of a build because if you do get shut down, at least you have 3 points in E and that's still good for farming. Okay. One thing that was weird to me is he went D-Lance first. This is not the common build right now. I mean, people do it, but more often than not, what you see, there's the 2 points in Glaives. He skills it up. Chipped Vest. Oh, that's so nice. But what you more so see right now is Mask of Madness rush into just flash farming. He doesn't go that. And I think the reason for that is he's just doing so well against Smars that he feels like he can go this route and then never get bursted, which makes sense, right? Team Liquid has very burst heavy ganks, so they're gonna arena into a scatter blade. Arena into a snap ulti or arena into Laguna Blade, and so on. And so if he goes D-Lance, he can actually help out and show up the tower pushes and survive the burst. So I think that's the main reason why he goes it. The only other thing I could think of is he just straight up doesn't want Mask of Madness this game, and he thinks it's just gonna generally delay his timings, which, you know, he doesn't, he just straight up doesn't go it. So it's kind of cool. Also, one thing to consider is the enemy team is mostly physical damage, at least as the game goes along, and so reducing your armor with Mask of Madness in fights, even though that's not the main reason why you buy it, it's not for fights, it's for farming, I still think it kind of makes sense because you do use it in fights and it can kind of screw you against like a TB and Alina. So I kind of like that he's getting Menta as soon as possible. Menta is very good against auto attackers because number one, you can dodge 2 to 3 autos from Alina just by clicking Menta. And on top of that, you can purge Reflection, which is very important this game. It's also just a good farming item, obviously. Okay, so one thing that's kind of cool is he shifts over to this top tower here. I'm not sure I would have made this play. So he has the D-Lance. This is kind of like your timing to not go aggressive, but to look for just favorable engagements in general. So he wants to avoid the enemy team. Luna doesn't typically want to take like mega fights right now. She wants to take fights either under towers or when your team is set up at a tower. Because for instance, right here, if the enemy was to fight them, it's very, very likely that, if the enemy was to fight them, that because they're set up, Liquid's TPs would be staggered, because that's how it works, right? Whenever you TP into a tower, the next TP takes longer. So if you TP into a Luna like that, then it's probably going to be favorable. Is this even good? I don't even know if this is good. Like, in this clip, he scales Eclipse and pops Eclipse for a Lina kill. It does, how much damage does this do? So each beam is 75. That's like basically nothing. It doesn't even mini stun, so like, I would say that this is good, but generally you would only recommend scaling Eclipse if you have at least 2 points in beam, because frankly, like, yes, that did, what, 6 times 150? Oh, but its max beams are 5 per unit, so let's say you hit her with 5 beams, I guess that's 5 times 75, which is what, 375? Is that any math? Did I do that right? I don't know, but either way, I guess 375 is a lot more than a second point in beam, so to be fair, oh no, either way, I guess it is worth it. So taking a point in Eclipse, according to Yoragi, it's basically a maxed out nuke. you know, on a 120-second cooldown, but it's something. It's better than beam. So if you happen to be taking a fight and get off a good eclipse because you're able to wrap, then go for it. Okay, I like his beam usage here. So I think a lot of people would use beam wrong. As the game goes along and you get your maxed out beam plus beam talent at 15, you kind of just spam beam because it's a 2.5-second cooldown. However, when you have only level 1 beam, it's a 9-second cooldown. It does no damage. So you're kind of best using it for just maximizing autos, like the mini stun. So you generally want to use it when people are disengaging and in between auto attacks. That is the optimal way to use it. So here after the fight, he goes up into the jungle. I like this. Usually the reason why this is good in this case is because it's 1304. So let's say the Terrorblade is to come over and farm this, like TP mid and farm this, it's just dead, right? So anytime you can wipe out the enemy jungle at the start of a minute, it often creates a scenario where then you can wipe out their camps, which you're gonna do here, and then take your triangle and then come back and do it again. So he actually doesn't go back to the, no, he did. Yeah, so you go back to the triangle, you clear the triangle, and then you try to get back to the enemy side of the map for the next minute, sometimes, right? Obviously, if you're ready to do it. Seems like they don't wanna force it. To be fair, nighttime is in a minute. You know, it's pretty reasonable not to force an engagement here. Finger is also on cooldown, which, you know, they definitely could care about. He actually leaves Glaives at level 3, which I don't think there's a particular reason behind that. It's not like it's like, oh, you know, 3 beams. It doesn't really scale like that. Honestly, yeah, each point is actually much better as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think this is just him saying like, hey, I want to be able to fight. And it makes sense, right? Every single point in beam with Eclipse is very significant in terms of damage increase, right? The second point in beam is literally a double in damage on Eclipse. The third point is a 50% increase. So every single, you know, skilling is a very significant increase. And then the fourth point is only a 25% increase. So the 3 points in beam is I would say like the most important. The second is when Eclipse becomes like noticeable, and then the third is when you can like generally solo kill people with it. So I'd be yeah, okay, so he does leave it at 3 and then takes Eclipse, which makes sense at 12. So I like this build. Oh my god, this is kind of the value here. If he had Mask of Madness, well, I guess he would have D-Lance anyway, so he'd have about the same HP. But okay, so he probably would have lived anyway. But he lives through, gets off his Eclipse, has to kind of kite out. He's a little bit low, bit of a weird fight. Okay, has to get out of the way from the Snapfire. Is he just gonna? Yeah, he's just gotta get out, right? Okay, yeah, just TP's top. Makes a safe play. Probably gonna ask his IO to shift over and heal him here. At least that's what I would do. I'd be yelling at my IO to come heal me. There we go. Gets healed up, sends Mantas to top. That's generally what you want to do. I'm a little bit, I think, okay, so I think he summoned those Mantas previous to seeing them mid, because if you don't see them mid, then you just push the lane, right? Because it's 17:02 on the clock, which means that you're going to be able to farm everything in the area at this point of the game with Manta D-Lance. You farm so fast that you don't need to like use Manta to farm waves so that you can farm camps. At this point in the game, you use Manta generally to farm waves that are too dangerous to farm otherwise. Like efficiency is generally out of the question at this point because you can clear everything. So yeah, did he summon those before he saw them mid? Let's see. That would be the question I would ask. Otherwise, I'm a little bit confused. So did he? Yeah, he did. Okay, so he didn't see them and he summoned them. He probably was a bit afraid of a smoke gank. Maybe he was even going to get ready to fight on his high ground. So does walk up his high ground here, a little bit risky. Okay, sees the Mars, sees Alina, so he can kind of assume where they are. I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't go back top here. Is he going to Manta mid? I kind of would have assumed he was going to let Bat Rider farm mid, but no, he's just going to farm mid. Personally, I feel like I would have ran top there and set up Mantas for top lane. I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't do this. Okay, so they smoke, so they want to fight. I mean, they have Eclipse up in 5, so it's about the time to go. It's nighttime. You got your Manta. They're just gonna run into them, yeah? Okay. How does this work? I don't understand. Like, how does Liquid not expect this? I mean, I'm just being I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? I just can't believe it. Like, these are the best of the best. How does this work so well? I genuinely am just shocked. I look at this play and I'm like, if I'm Liquid, I'm just assuming, I'm 100% assuming that OGs, if they're gonna fight, they're gonna rap. They're not gonna walk right up to you. Of course not. You have a Tombstone, Arena, like a TB, you're not gonna walk up and kill them. Like, that's insane. If you're gonna kill them, you're gonna go behind them. Did they show the bat? Is that why they fell for it? Okay, so they show the bat on the, oh, is that, what? Is that really what that is? The scan misses, is that, oh my God, is that Liquid scan? So Liquid scan here. Oh, so oh, that's so lucky. Yeah, so Liquid scan, that missed? This is Liquid scan right here. Oh my god, it missed. That's crazy. They did read it. I'm like, how could you not read that? At this level, you read these plays, right? Generally. I mean, it's two things. Number one, the scan somehow missed. OG scans the high ground, so they scan here. They want to scout this out, see if they're here. So they get the scan. They say, okay, they're not here. So this is honestly a high skill scan. This is pretty cool. They scan the high ground to see if they're here. This enables them to go up. They obviously want to lead up the high ground with Luna, or I was going to say obviously with Luna, but they have Night Stalker, so they could do either for the night vision. But okay, and then what BCM does is he shows bottom, and he kind of just insinuates that you're farming, because if you play Battle Rider, you know that if you think a team fight's going to break out, you don't pop your E, because it's a pretty short duration. It has a 19-second downtime. It's really long. Like, it's often if you use it, you're not going to have it in the fight. So he even gets jumped here, right? Wow, the Tumbler's totally disengaged. Nice. So he baits in the Mars, dodges Alina's down. Holy sh! This guy is making moves. Now they get the perfect wrap because the scan misses. BZM baits the attention, so they kill off Snap. Snap gets off not a single spell. Kills Mickey. Has to go to the backline to help BZM. Good awareness to protect his Battle Rider there. Wow, great team fight. That was really, really, really nice. That was some high tier stuff. Looking good, OG. I mean, hey, they've been winning games, so it makes sense that they're making really high skill plays like that. But that was nice. That was really, really nice. Okay, so he summons Mantis top again. So he's obviously pretty afraid of playing the map right now. I mean, you got to be a little bit afraid against Liquid's team comp. As I said, they have a lot of burst. You do have an IO on your team, but Liquid's got a lot of burst. Ooh, okay, sees Lina, gets off the Mantis. I like what he's doing. He's just using Mantis until he gets this BKB timing, which he's gotten now. So he's got the BKB. Usually this is go time. You can pop a smoke. They have Night Stalker ulti. You see Insania. He's trying to pop the smoke on Insania. I don't even know how to say Insania. How do people say Insania? Insania? Insomnia? I don't know. Alright, either way, fight breaks out. That's the approaches. At this point, you're level 15 with Beam. You just cast it off cooldown. That's generally how you lead fights, because it helps you close the gap. Because you take the mini stun talent as far. Yep, mini stun talent. You can close the gap. It's a pointed second stun. It's pretty long. Like pointed seconds is a good amount of time. So you generally lead with it at this point, so you can close the gap for your auto attacks too, because the range is a little bit longer. Okay, there we go. Right, beam was gonna go for the eclipse. Doesn't get it off, but I'm gonna go for another beam. Yep, even sets up for the lasso there. No BKB. And nice beam right at the end of the lasso. Beautifully timed there. Perfect. Okay, gets relocated ahead. Beam again. Beam again. Yeah, this is Luna gameplay. Beam and auto attack. The Eclipse basically, once they get into melee range, then you Eclipse. You can see it doesn't. The main thing I think you guys should keep in mind is that he didn't. Oh, another beam. He didn't prioritize the Eclipse. Like, it's not like he tried to sneak up, Eclipse, and then beam. He threw out like 3 or 4 beams before Eclipsing, because you want to make sure you actually get off a decent Eclipse. You don't want to waste it. It's such a ridiculously high damage spell. I mean, how much damage does Eclipse do? It's 300 magical damage times potential 12 beams. That is what, 3,600 damage? You know, think about it, how much damage that actually is. So you want to try to get the value out of it, even though you can only hit 5 beams per person, which means that you only can do a total of 50. A lot of people don't know that. Luna ulti can't just hit you with 12 beams. The only time it can hit you with 12 beams is if you buy Ags, because then it just removes the limits, which is why the Ags, you might be like, oh my god, I got chain stun and just solo kill by the Ags. Well, yeah, that's what the Ags does. K5 breaks out, jump from Lion, beam to follow up the stun, really nice. Another beam to, oh my god. Dude, it's chain stunning. It almost feels like it is on purpose for sure, but it almost feels like it's not, because it's like he's just spamming it and it's just working out. Like the 3.5 second cooldown on this beam talent is insane. I can't believe Eclipse cooldown is the other one. It's not even close, dude. In terms of which one, like in terms of what's good, it's not even close. That's crazy. Did they just get Roche for free? Wow. And he gets the shard, which is huge. I don't really think the shard is actually that good, especially with like this type of item build. When you're going like Mantis Scotty, because it's just not that good. It is good for with the Scotty active, and then it's not bad. Just for applying it, like the fact that you can just like beam some meta TB and just slow the shit out of him and kite him out. Like unironically, your team could see meta, you could beam him to slow him and then walk away on a beam disengage, which is kind of cool. Fight breaks out and leads in, autos beam. I think at this point OG just calls GG, right? Eclipse on the chain stun. Don't be afraid to just use it to burst down any core. Should never feel like you should hold it, you know? Just if you can kill a mid laner or safe laner with your Eclipse, generally just drop it. Unless like it's some like really underfarmed Storm Spirit. You know, probably shouldn't eclipse the guy. You should probably save it for their like 18-0 PA. But you get what I'm saying. Okay, a little bit of split push going on here. At this point, he's just, what do you take at 20? Yeah, beam damage. Dude, Global Lunar Blessing is so awful. Why would you ever take that? It's like, oh my, it gives 35 damage globally. 35 damage at minute 28? Okay, yeah, it's just GG. I mean, look at his net worth, guys. Ridiculous. Oh my, he's 10k up. What is this net worth even coming from? He gets 1400 from start. How is he 10k up? Is TV just down our farm? What is the CS difference? Oh my god. 388 to 264. Holy. I mean, Luna definitely outfarms TB. I think Luna had a better lane than TB as well. Definitely had a better lane than TB. Wow, that is a beatdown. That is a beatdown. Holy. All right. Well, nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. That was just kind of like a fun, I had a fun time just watching the replay, going it over, talking about a little bit of Dotes, a little bit of Uragi gameplay. And I wish OG the best. It's been a ton of fun watching them play. Funny enough, I didn't even know most of these players. Like, I knew Taiga, I knew Misha. I didn't know the rest. Like, I think I've heard the name BZM for sure, but Uragi and Amar, I did not hear before this team. So really cool to see some new names, at least personally for me, new names. I don't watch, you know, NA is the best region, so I'm more focused on NA. You guys know how it is. But all right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.